My grandmother's neighborhood has this neat stone maze, complete with angel statues and
Been a
fountains.
week.
It was really cool, and something you really don't see a whole lot in neighborhoods these days. My grandmother's neighborhood was one of those 50-plus communities. I doubt you could have something like this in a neighborhood full of kids without it getting defaced with spray-painted pictures of penises or something. For me, I actually admired works of architecture like this, and was impressed by the amount of effort it must have taken to construct it. It was open from dusk till dawn. However, my grandmother told me that there was no neighborhood security during the holidays, and no one would say anything if I wanted to go through the maze after hours, so I did just that. I brought a flashlight with me, of course, and it took me about 5 minutes to reach the entrance of the maze from my grandmother's place. The maze wasn't massive, but it was big enough that you could get turned around, at least for a little bit. If I could give you guys a somewhat accurate visual of this maze, think of the maze in Resident Evil 4, where Leon had to fight off those dogs and gather puzzle pieces. That's roughly the same size as this maze. When I walked through this maze during the daytime, I would usually listen to my headphones, but something told me not to put them on that night, and it's a good thing that I followed my instincts. After I'd say it was about 10 minutes, I suddenly heard the sound of metal scraping against the stone walls. As soon as I heard the sound, alarm bells went off in my head. I froze in place and carefully listened for any other sounds. The scraping noise came again, except this time there was a deep voice that followed it.
Abandon hope, all ye who enter here.
This sent chills down my spine, realizing that I was now in a maze at night with a possible maniac. The maze had these areas where a statue or a fountain would be. In these locations, there was shrubbery that lined the maze walls. There was just enough space between the wall and the bushes for a small person like me to hide behind. And since I didn't know the best from more, as the dark shadow moved to the other side of the area and disappeared into the opposite corridor. After a few minutes of gathering my wits, I was reasonably sure that if I went back down the way I came, I could backtrack and make my escape. I cautiously moved out from my hiding spot to the corridor. I stopped in my tracks as I heard the sound of metal scraping again. It was coming from the opposite corridor where the figure had vanished. Before I could turn to look, I heard that same deep voice cut through the silence.
I see you.
I turned my head to see the figure running towards me, pickaxe raised above its head. That's when I took off through the corridor and frantically made my way through the dark maze. There was no time to navigate through the maze properly, so I just had to guess my way through the labyrinth as the lunatic with the pickaxe closed in behind me. After about 5 minutes of twists and turns, I finally saw the exit. I tore through the snow-covered ground and towards the opening. Just before I crossed the threshold, I heard a loud smash coming from right behind me.
After an asteroid struck my yoga studio, Vistaprint helped me pivot to hot yoga, which doubled.
doing his usual odd jobs. He swept up the barn, checked on the chickens, then went out to the field to round up the cattle. But as he entered the field, his jaw dropped. There, sitting silently in the middle of his field, was a plane. The farmer scratched his head in confusion as he stared at the massive plane. Yesterday, it hadn't been there. Had someone landed here just now? But why here? And why in this field? He decided to investigate things further and walked over to the plane. The staircase was open, so he climbed up into the plane. He noticed the side of the plane appeared to have just been painted over. He found this unusual, as why would someone paint a plane in his field? This was private property. It was dark and ominous inside the plane. He stepped in and looked around. Then he screamed. In each seat was a passenger, and all of them were dead. Welcome back to SCP Exposed. Today we bring you a safe class object, SCP-787. The plane is a Boeing 747-200 airliner of unknown manufacturing date and source. The exterior of the plane has been painted over, including all passenger windows. The paint was wet upon recovery, drying soon after. The mechanical components of the plane are all undamaged and functional and show no signs of use. Non-mechanical components of SCP-787, including carpeting, upholstery, and luggage, are in an advanced...
Okay, next.
advanced state of decay. The pilot and co-pilot seats have been removed, replaced with two piles of computer components arranged in the shape of chairs. SCP-787 was initially discovered in a field near Bremerton, Washington in June 1987. Investigations into the surrounding area confirmed no eyewitness accounts of the plane having landed there, or of the plane being transported to the field. The plane is currently contained within Hangar 4 on Foundation Site 53. Security cameras and sound recording equipment are to be stationed in the cockpit, passenger area, and baggage hold of SCP-787 to record any anomalous events. In the event of any anomalous activity within the plane, access to the interior of the plane is to be prohibited for a minimum of 72 hours. SCP-787 contains the bodies of 515 deceased individuals. The cause of death varies among specimens, with causes including strangulation, loss of blood, drowning, starvation, bullet wounds, stab wounds, and blunt force trauma. Despite these different causes of death, the specimens have been found with similar forms of mutilations, including removal of the tongue, 23 instances, scalping, 73 instances, carving of Cyrillic letters into the left palm, 230 instances, with no pattern found, and removal of fingertips, 498 instances. All specimens are in advanced stages of decay, but have shown no signs of decaying further. They appear almost frozen in state. Visual apparitions, or unexplained noises, will spontaneously manifest within SCP-787. These incidents have not occurred when the plane is occupied by Foundation personnel. Attempts to enter the plane after these events will result in individuals being violently forced away from the plane by some unknown presence, accompanied by severe organ damage and internal bleeding. The period this secondary effect remains varies, but has not lasted longer than 72 hours. The following is a list of anomalous events that have taken place inside SCP-787. August 1st, 1988. The sound of pounding against doors and windows on the left side of the plane could be heard, lasting 7 minutes and 15 seconds. Interior cameras picked up no movement during this period. February 22nd, 1997. A male voice was heard in the forward men's wash closet, repeating the phrase, "Philosophers always run from the advanced thickening treatment," 5 times. October 6th, 2003. The in-flight movie activated, displaying a repeating series of 7 black and white still images of a deceased male human, accompanied by a female voice reading a vacuum cleaner manual in Czech. This lasted for 43 minutes. December 27th, 2009. The fasten seatbelt sign flickered on and off for 3 hours and 41 minutes, accompanied by a repeated loop of the first 15 seconds of White Rabbit by Jefferson Airplane played over the speaker system. This is the longest recorded anomalous event within SCP-787. July 30th, 2011. an indistinct humanoid figure manifested in the aisle next to CH-43 and removed the emergency air supply. The figure placed the breathing mask on and stood still for 2 minutes and 15 seconds before removing the mask and walking out of frame. The figure did not appear on any other cameras. January 15th, 2013. A manifestation of an indistinct humanoid figure, approximately 1 meter in height, occurred. The figure sat in the co-pilot's chair for 3 minutes and 50 seconds, making soft whimpering plain, and thus Foundation personnel question whether these objects were placed to throw off the Foundation.
Did you know that you can make money from YouTube without creating videos? That's right, you can use other people's videos.
Or whether these individuals really were from the past. How they ended up inside the plane, however, is still unknown. In February of 2008, an examination of SCP-787's waste storage tank revealed an additional deceased individual. An Indian male approximately 30 years of age. Subject was in possession of the following: a 3-piece tailored suit, a surgical mask and rubber gloves, an unloaded Beretta DT-10 shotgun, 1 box of Tic Tac brand mints containing 14 cinnamon flavor mints, a switchblade, an Eye of Horus amulet constructed of recycled aluminum and twine, the plane's flight log, the coordinates -27.41, -122.70 were logged 5,478 times. A movie ticket for Return of the Jedi. The number 92 is written on the back in permanent marker. The deceased man did not display a similar state of decay as the rest of SCP-787 specimens. His cause of death is unknown. Foundation personnel wonder whether he is the overseer of the plane's manifestation, but this does not explain why he is dead, or how the plane appeared in the field in the first place. O5 personnel have encouraged Foundation members to offer any theories as to how SCP-787 appeared. So far, only a few stand as possible origin stories. The plane is actually an extreme decoy to hiding murder victims. It is a dimensional anomaly, perhaps of parallel universe sources, which could explain the different time periods of the passengers, and the anomalous events such as people speaking and shouting. It is of extraterrestrial origin. However, there is a lack of evidence to back up this theory. What did you think of that SCP case? Do you have any of your own theories as to how and why SCP-787 came into existence? Comment your thoughts. The man. The subject waited for a period of 84 seconds. Nothing happened. Then, the subject felt a presence materialize behind him, and SCP-2521 appeared. The creature then grabbed the subject without any warning and disappeared, with the subject in hand. The subject was never found again, and is presumed dead. Meanwhile, SCP-2521 continues to roam freely. Welcome back to SCP Exposed. Today, we're bringing you an SCP case that has been made strictly confidential to the public eye by O5 personnel, but is currently undergoing experimentation to test SCP-2521's capabilities. 2521 is a Keter-class object of great strength and power. It is currently impossible to contain the entity due to its ability to phase through walls. SCP-2521 is a large creature, standing almost twice the height of a normal human. Its entire body is covered in layers of sticky black tendrils that seem similar in appearance to ribbons, although it is unknown if it is made of these or is simply covered in them. The creature appears sentient and understands words, but is confused when presented with images or other nonverbal forms of communication, such as graphs and symbols. A particularly interesting ability of SCP-2521 is its ability to remove or steal every piece of information about its nature, as long as the information is expressed in textual or verbal form. For example, any pieces of writing or audio recordings that have been made on 2521 have disappeared within a few seconds of completion. Because of that, nearly everything about him is registered by ideograms and pictures. You, the viewers, may be wondering how this video is possible then, if SCP-2521 is capable of removing evidence of its existence. Well, this is part of the Foundation's experiment, aka Alpha 2521-A6. in which layers of security and protection have been placed over this video tracing to prevent the creature from stealing or removing this video from online. However, the strength and durability of this layer of protection is fragile, and so we recommend you watch this video as soon as you can, and spread the word to your friends if you wish to know more about SCP-2521. SCP-2521 was first encountered by the Foundation in 1993 upon Site-14. A staff member of the Foundation was reported to be in the bathroom stall of the second floor, Section C area of Site-14. The staff member was in the bathroom when other staff members outside in the hallway started hearing screams from inside the bathroom. The last thing they heard was the members screaming, "What is that thing?" And then there was nothing but silence. When they burst into the bathroom stall 3 seconds later, there was no one there. There was no sign of the staff member, nor of the creature or thing that had taken him. An occurrence much like this happened 3 more times in the same year. This brought the Foundation's attention to these disappearances, and the experimentation was conducted to identify who this kidnapper was. Security cameras were placed in the 3 separate locations where these staff members had disappeared. However, the next appearance of what is presumed to be SCP-2521 did not occur in any of these locations. In fact, no more sightings were reported until 10 years later, in August of 2003. Agent Kelly and her child were present at Site-90. Agent Kelly had been asked to bring her child to work for experimentation regarding a separate SCP case. Due to the requirements of this experimentation, the child was placed in a separate room by himself. Scientists were stationed outside. The child had a table and chair, and a notebook and pencil to entertain himself with while scientists observed from outside. Agent Kelly was also present at the scene. Suddenly, the lights went off. The whole of Site-90 was submerged in darkness. At this time, Agent Kelly, fearing for her child, rushed to his room to find him, but the door was locked. It seemed it had been locked from the inside. Agent Kelly demanded the scientists help her open the door, but they claimed they had not touched the lock button. Something else had locked the door. Agent Kelly screamed for her son, but her son did not reply. The door wasn't unlocked. High rating? Adam would have expected better conditions. He didn't think too much of it, though, since his flight was soon, and so Adam picked up the bag, grabbed his stuff, and headed out. Back in the limo he went, with his belongings and that special bag. The limo dropped him off at the airport, and within an hour, Adam was already sitting comfortably in the private jet. There was no one else on the plane, apart from the pilots, of course, and the bag. It sat next to him on the seat. There was something about the bag that sent shivers down Adam's spine, but he couldn't figure out why. The plane started to move, and then it set into takeoff. Adam glanced out the window as they flew higher and higher into the air, the city lights becoming smaller and smaller below them. The plane rattled silently as it broke through a cloud, and then they leveled out into a smooth flight. Things were fine. Soon, Adam would be home, and his boss would probably give him a bonus for the trouble of picking up this bag. And then, everything went terribly wrong. Adam went to the bathroom. He heard a noise behind him and saw that the bag had fallen onto the floor. Must have been the turbulence, thought Adam, and he closed the door behind him in the bathroom. He was about to zip down his pants when the plane gave a sudden lurch. Then, the pilot's voice sounded in the speakers.
This is a crash landing. I repeat, a crash landing. Please return to your seat and buckle up.
Adam couldn't believe this was happening. He burst out of the bathroom and ran straight to his seat. Through the windows, he could see that the engines were on fire. In the side of the plane, a giant hole had appeared, as if it had been eaten through. Beside the hole, the bag sat beside it. Adam did a quick scan of his surroundings. They were crash landing. By the looks of the plane, they probably wouldn't survive. He tried to search for anything that could save him and spotted a parachute hanging in the storage compartment. While the plane rattled and shook, Adam grabbed the parachute, and without really thinking about it, he grabbed the bag too. He lifted the parachute onto his shoulders and jumped out of the giant hole in the plane. Suddenly, he was free falling. He wanted to look up at the plane in case he started to spin in the air. Suddenly, he reached back and tried to pull at the strings of the parachute. Finally, the parachute opened up and his free fall turned into a slow glide. He was alive. He was going to make it. He couldn't believe it. Adam still held tightly onto the bag. His boss had better give him a promotion after all the effort he put into getting this bag. He could have died. Suddenly, something inside him started to move. It looked like there was some sort of a creature or something inside it. Adam yelped with fear, and then the zipper at the top of the bag opened by itself. It opened up, revealing a hole resembling a monster's mouth with razor-sharp teeth and a long tongue that whipped out at him. Adam screamed, struggling midair, and suddenly the bag attacked him and bit at his shoulder. He screamed even louder this time, and suddenly he was falling again, faster. A part of his brain recognized that his arm had been chewed off by the bag. He fell to the ground, and in the last few seconds of his life, Adam cursed his stupid boss for putting him in this situation. Then, Adam died as he met the ground. SCP-101 was found a few days later. Adam's boss was able to locate the plane crash, and thus find SCP-101. Adam's body was also found at the same time, already long dead. SCP-101 is now contained in the sub-basement 02 of Site-19, inside of a standard fireproof document lockbox, within a reinforced concrete room of standard facility size. It has been concluded that the plane's crash was as a result of SCP-101 chewing into the wires and machinery of the plane, causing a malfunction that resulted in loss of control. SCP-101 is not externally mobile. However, internal...
I forgot what site this is. This map is Site 19, so I'm gonna call this facility Site 19. This character is in Site 19. So, yeah. I forgot which site he's in. So, I'm just gonna call it Site 19. In Australia. Press play.
Result in movement on the exterior surface. Further experimentation found that SCP-101 was able to intake a range of matter, including, but not limited to, paper. Johnson, a past teacher from 10 years ago, is suspected to be one of the 3 victims. Witnesses report last seeing her carrying a yellow bag and heading home. When she missed out on a whole week of work, authorities headed to her home and found she was missing. They have concluded she is most likely deceased, although the causes are unknown. The yellow bag people reported to have seen her carrying was not found at her house, nor in the vicinity. Amy, a young girl, is another suspected victim of SCP-101. She was reported missing at a mall by her parents, but she was never found again. Her parents claim the last they saw her was in the baggage area of the mall, where multiple bags were displayed on sale. In old photos of this crime scene, SCP-101 can be identified sitting on a shelf in the background. Investigators have concluded that Amy was most likely consumed by SCP-101, although this is not known to the public, of course. Officially, both Amy and Sarah Johnson are still missing,
Nowadays,
most likely deceased.
SCP Foundation is public.
SCP-101
That's why
is
there's
a definite
YouTube
danger to
videos
society.
on it.
Its origins are unknown.
No.
Its age is unknown. However, fibers from apparel that have been dated back to the 15th century have been found on SCP-101's exterior.
So,
Therefore,
yeah.
it appears
Pretty much, you know.
SCP-101 may be over 600 years old. Researchers suspect SCP-101 may be able to alter the appearance of its exterior to suit its time period. Usually this friendly with the SCP items, but I guess there was something about this woman that drew me in. She seemed nice. You shouldn't speak to her, the scientist whispered fiercely at me. Relax, I said to him. Then I turned to the woman. What's your name?
Katie,
She said nervously.
what's your name?
She asked me, and that surprised me even more. I wasn't expecting that. Should I tell her my real name or not? Strictly speaking, we were...
Alright, Tuk Tuk. What's wrong?
The subject entered the mirror while holding SCP-093. As soon as the subject came into contact with the mirror, he was able to step through it into what appeared to be some sort of portal. Soon enough, he disappeared into the mirror. Foundation personnel observed that the mirror's reflection changed and instead projected a view of a field. The subject was lost from sight. Welcome back to SCP Exposed. Today we bring you Euclid class object SCP-093. The object is primarily a red disc carved from a stone composite resembling cinnabar, with circular engravings and unknown symbols. The disc is 7.62 centimeters in diameter and fits comfortably into most palms without abrasion. A peculiar feature of SCP-093 is that it will change hue when held by a living individual. The colors taken by the disc are still being researched to establish a link. Current belief holds that the changes depend upon regrets carried by the holder. If the disc is removed from a mirror and not held by a person, it will seek out the nearest mirror-like surface. If an obstacle is between SCP-093 and the nearest mirror-like surface, it will use its phenomenal speed. The mechanism of this acceleration is currently unknown. To punch through the obstacle and continue on its course at this speed, it will only stop when a mirror-like surface is contacted. Despite tremendous impact velocities, no damage will be dealt to the disc or the mirror. This has resulted in damage to much of Site-87. Subsequently, the disc must remain on a mirror at all times and must be under constant video surveillance. The object was originally found.
Our world is divided, and to fix it, I must find the last dragon. Note to self, don't die.
From the studio that brought you Frozen.
Hold on!
My girl Ryan and I are gonna fix the world.
I wish to join this fellowship of kickery.
Bring on the heat.
Flya and the Last Dragon. Order it on Disney Plus with Premier Access.
Found by the Foundation on the shore of the Red Sea on the 30th of January 1968, emitting a low sigh and a dim blue flame. Several experiments were conducted to test SCP-093's reaction to mirror-like surfaces. During one of these experiments, a researcher, by pure coincidence, held the disc in his hand and tripped forward into a mirror. Miraculously, the researcher proceeded to step into the mirror. He quickly stepped back into the room while everyone stared in shock at this newfound discovery. 5 tests have been conducted so far regarding 5 different colors from SCP-093. During these tests, subjects must wear a Class 3 buckle harness strapped to the chest and must be attached to a tension pulley system, allowing for 300 meters of movement. Additional spools may be added to extend movement if necessary. The clasps connecting these spools must be high-grade and capable of withstanding applied force of 0.2 tons. The subject must also be attached to a video system with a camera mounted on the subject's head or shoulders. The first test was performed for the color blue. The subject performing the test was a male of 34 years of age. He had a background of attempted suicide and 2 cases of murder. The subject held the disc in his hand, which immediately altered into a blue hue, then stepped through into the mirror. Instantly, the reflection in the mirror altered to show a field, and the view of the field was tinged in a blue hue too. From the camera view, the field looked like typical lowland plains, and everything had a heavy blue tinge overlapping the normal colors. No discernible landmarks visible as subject panned view left to right. Only grass, weeds, and a breeze moving the taller grass. No trees, no living beings visible. Subject moved forward as instructed, traveling for approximately 500 steps before finding a large hole. The subject was instructed to enter the hole, and after mild protesting, he agreed to do so. There was no apparent method of descent, such as ladder or rope. The subject relied entirely on his own hands and the pulley system to slow the descent. Once the subject reached the bottom of the hole, cable reads showed it was at least 100 meters deep. He found nothing of interest. But when he moved forward, he found a tunnel leading further away. The tunnel turned from bare dirt to a concrete enclosure, and the subject complained of a stench. Eventually, the hallway was lit up as ceiling lights appeared ahead. A series of 6 doors, 3 to a side, spanned before the camera view, with a 7th door visible at the end of the corridor that had been blocked by what looked like generic metal shelving debris. Subject was requested to try doors, in whatever order he chose. The first 2 doors were locked.
I guess it's time to head to bed. 9 AM. It's the next day.
Going up the other side, the third door opened fully, and light was bright in the room. The room was bare, but the walls were filthy. Subject stated the material on the walls wasn't dirt, but he couldn't identify it. It seemed to resemble melted plastic, but was brown in color rather than black. The subject opened the fifth door to find just a bare room with some shelves and boxes of bottled water. On the ceiling of the room was the same plastic-like material. Audio on the tape went strange, and a high-pitched screeching noise like grinding metal dominated all communication back at HQ for 3 seconds. The subject was asked to leave the room and head back. The camera panned, and suddenly a figure was visible at the end of the tunnel where the seventh door was. The door was open only enough for a face to be seen through a crack just before the door silently closed. No details could be seen. At the time this took place, no personnel noticed this, nor did the subject. It was only discovered after future review. The subject climbed back up the tunnel and returned to the surface. Personnel noticed the cable attached to the subject.
Subscribe to My Crazy Life to become a part of the adventures. Live a little.
Let's have a...
Everyone knows Raid's Shadow Legends by now, but did you know it's Raid's second year anniversary? Happy birthday, Raid!
Let's have a join.
Can you imagine how many people...
I would actually like to see a bunch of people dress up as Raid characters for next Halloween.
I can't believe how Raid has grown so big from a small community to one of the biggest communities on the internet. Happy birthday, Raid. You really do deserve all the success. High quality, and the characters are actually unbelievable. One of my favorite...
Fuck off.
This girl over here is a demon spawn, which kind of scared me, to be honest. I think a lot of you guys might be really into these ones. We got a Diablos level 60 as well. And honestly, guys, this is some crazy ass graphics for a mobile RPG game. You won't find this anywhere else. You know what? I'm feeling kind of stressed. I gotta jump into a battle and just blow off some steam. Alright, here we go. It's time. And the badass look.
Next.
What's up, guys? I'm Sarge. Welcome back to another haunted adventure. Today I'm giving you guys a paranormal investigation in this haunted Airbnb that I've been basically living in for the last 10 days. Angelo has been a witness to some of the crazy stuff that's happened in this place. We've been documenting throughout the 10 days that I've been here. I've actually been living here with my wife. Angelo's just been here from time to time. Throughout the 10 days that I've been basically living in this historic mansion, we've had a lot of disturbances, paranormal disturbances happen. Stuff coming from the attic, stuff coming from the staircase, and a lot of noises coming from the kitchen and in this room that we're standing in right now. First things first, the other day Angelo came over to see me, and as I was making an espresso, what did you see?
The cup literally flipped over on its own.
Like right in front of you. I saw it, he saw it, we were all left speechless with what we saw. So I just showed Angelo the footage of that, and like, a freaking stool tipping over. That is unreal. This is why I do want to do a full-blown paranormal investigation. We have kinetic cameras, we have our K2s.
Do you want
we got
food
spirit books,
or-
we got laser grid. It's gonna be an all-nighter tonight, and we're gonna be grinding these epic adventures.
Sure. I'll like just a burger. What type of burger you want? Just a cheeseburger will do. Okay. I will bring it to you as soon as I can. Okay, see ya. See
Press
ya.
like button. Let me know in the comments below if you guys enjoy these type of videos. Alright guys, so what we've done is we've turned off every light inside of this house. We've got the laptop running with a kinetic camera. That camera maps out if there's any spirits or anything that basically crosses the camera's path. You guys can see over here, Angelo and I are mapped out. Earlier when Angelo was testing out his gear, he had a figure sitting on his shoulder and punching him in the face.
I have a recording of it.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna include the recording of that right here. Well, Angela got punched in the face by something.
That's weird.
Yeah. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take you guys around the house. We're gonna explore it. Now we want you guys to help us out with this investigation. I want each and every one of you to keep your eyes wide open. Let me know if you spot anything in the corners, in the distance, in the darkness. It's almost as if I wanted you guys to be on this investigation with me, which I really do. I wish I could investigate with all you guys because I know how much you guys are passionate about this. So this right here is the dining room. This was renovated a few years back. Keep in mind, this was a very old historic mansion. It still is a historic mansion, but it was updated in our house. Shadia calls me. She's crying. The TV turned on by itself. It's blasting, and she's just not having it.
Here's the burger.
Sound like something was just walking
Cool.
here.
Thanks. See ya. For now. There's no experiments for you to do right now. So, yeah.
Kids' toys. Out of everything left behind, just these kids' toys up here. So the other day, as we were investigating and checking out this basement, we weren't really investigating it as like a paranormal investigation. We were kind of just checking it out to see what the heck is down here. We actually waited a whole 2 days before we literally went down to the basement. My wife was scared to come down here. Angela was scared to come down here. Carla was scared to come down here. But we ended up coming down here for the vlog channel. And what we found in this room is pretty terrifying. So let me show it to you guys right now.
I guess let's eat the pizza, guys. Let's eat the burger.
So I know to you guys it's just a basement room. But like, what? You're f***ing with me.
Why did you put this there?
Those were not there. Those were not there when I came downstairs. Oh, no way, dude.
What?
No, dude, I'm 100% serious.
Yeah.
Those were not on the staircase. Where the fuck did those come from?
I have no idea.
Holy shit. So there must have been something down here, because, like, look, this thing over here, I came out of there, and it started moving.
With Audible, you can listen to best-selling audiobooks, and your first audiobook is free. Plus, you get access to
And it was spinning violently, but I didn't get anything on my K2 meter. I almost want to turn off my light. Complete darkness. Hey, spirits, demons, ghosts, jinns, whatever you guys are. Can you make the K2 spike up to red? What? Strong. That's exactly what happened. That is exactly what happened. And it's funny you said you think you've seen someone standing in that.
It's not time. Let's head to bed, I guess. That's me. SCP-001.J. Red means Kia. They just invented signs. Color signs, basically. Red, you know, and so on and so on and so on. Red means Kita. Instead of spelling Kita, we do color signs now. It's 9 AM.
this. I heard a footstep beside me on the carpet. Although it was carpet, it sounded like a creak on the carpet. Look at that thing behind you. What's doing this? Can you show yourself? It's strange because I'm getting nothing on the key too. Yet all of this is happening. I swear I didn't see that door moving. There's the light playing in my eyes. Let's go into this room. I really would like to know where these Lego pieces came from. Where did the Legos go? Hey, how come the Legos? Where are they? You moved them? Where'd you put them?
Oh hey, I was going to go down there to get crusty so they get spammed on. I better go, okay? Oh good, see ya. See ya.
Yellow. Are you with us? Are there any children spirits in this place? I heard that.
I guess there's no experiments on me right now. That sucks.
Okay, she's going red green. I can see it spiking to green. Oh shit, look at that. It's spiking to green. It's going to red now. Did you feel a presence in that room with the carpet? Keep in mind, this basement didn't always look like this. I actually seen pictures from the lady that owns this place. She showed me pictures. I don't have them because she showed them to me on her phone. But this was not like this. Like, they renovated this. Why are there toys here? Oh, look, there's a Lego bag there. So how did those Legos get there? Footsteps upstairs. That's what we hear throughout the night. Yeah. Let's go upstairs right now. This is exactly what we hear in the middle of the night. And this place is footsteps coming from upstairs. Let's go upstairs. I hope you guys are ready to see how creepy it is upstairs. And like I said, this is the staircase that we hear running off every night.
You can see why it's so loud at night.
Yeah.
The stairs are really creepy.
Yeah, and really creaky, which is fine. If someone was actually going up the stairs. But it's only two of us in this house at nighttime when we're sleeping. This room here, so this is the master bedroom of the place. There's other bedrooms inside of this place. And really creepy. It's very old, like I said. You can hear all the floors cracking. Just any small movement. Hey, did you turn the light off? Huh? Did you turn that light off? That is.
I don't know if that was like
Well, that was not on before. And this is what I mean. Like, the light should not be on in this place. Wait, those are the lamps. No. They should not be on. Those are individual lamps that we did not turn on. I know my wife's really, like, crazy about that. Like, she doesn't like to leave lights on in the house. So... yeah, spider over here. I heard a noise coming from the bedroom. Oh, what the fuck? Oh, shit. Yeah, that should not be done then. Yeah, the first day we got here, the exact same thing happened. And I actually got it on the vlog channel too, so the fact that it's even happening right now is crazy. Is it just me or is it spinning faster right now? What the fuck?